Welcome to Shamanism, Metaphysics, and Grace. Today, I have an exciting astrology update for us, hot off the press from our resident astrologist, Jyoti Wind. Jyoti, what do you want to tell us that's going to be happening soon?
Well, this coming Monday, August 1st, there is an aspect in the heavens. Mars and the planet Uranus and the North Node are all together at the same degree, 18 degrees Taurus. And it's it's really mixed, but it's very important because the North Node in a chart talks about the future. It talks about a person's path in life, what they came to learn in this life. And Mars and Uranus together are really about awakening, really opening things up. I've been listening to a few other astrologers and their take on this recently, and that this week is a build-up to this aspect. And so a lot of the things that people are experiencing right now, this last week of July of 22, it's not necessarily what's going on in the heavens that they need to think about as like, Mercury was squaring Pluto, but it's not so much about that. It's just this build up toward August 1st, Monday.
And as an ordinary person, what would I expect to sense coming Monday?
I think that it's looking back over the past 15 years and looking at what's led to now and kind of the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one, and looking at what you want to set in motion for this next 15-year cycle, kind of loosely, nothing really nailed down, but kind of loosely. And it's really about change. I mean, Mars and Uranus together is awakening, it's change. The planet Uranus is all about change. It's the lightning bolt. It's like it's intuition. Things just occur to you. You see things. It's time to set new things in motion.
So, are there folks with particular astrological signs that would be more affected from this aspect?
People, I mean, this kind of gets a little bit more technical, but people who have things around 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 degrees of Taurus, of course, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, um, would be most catalyzed.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, people who have planets at those degrees, those same degrees in Taurus and Capricorn, it would just feel like some things very easily are occurring to them. That there's time for a change and they kind of have an idea of what's going on. They've been maybe mulling it around anyway, and so it's time to set things in motion. But the people with middle degrees of Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, and Taurus itself might feel very catalyzed, like not necessarily choosing the changes that they see in front of them, but feeling like, okay, I need to deal with this.
Take action.
Yes, yes.
You know, Jyoti, I've heard you talk before about the astrological aspects of the United States and how does, since we're in this country, how might this impact the country?
Well, because the planet Uranus is in Taurus, which is about food and agriculture, and Mars coming along and kind of stirring things up, that we're looking at food shortages. We're looking at more people at food pantries. We're looking at supply chain issues. We're looking at uh, people's expenses. Taurus is also about finances and resources that we have available to us. And so we're looking at the resources that we do or don't have available to us. Um, is all our income going to pay the rent or buy the gas in the car, and what's left for the family for food, for nourishment? And so it's really sparking a real look at how are we going forward? How are we going to have our basic needs met? And so it was interesting to me, as this is getting closer, that Russia and Ukraine came to a grain agreement. And grain is Taurus. Taurus is the basic vegetables and grains of the field, and how we survive, our subsistence level.
Yeah. So I think what's important for listeners to understand, we're not talking about just Monday. We're talking that this is setting forth a 15-year cycle. Am I correct?
It is correct, and plus the fact that Pluto in the United States chart is at 27 degrees Capricorn, and transiting Pluto in the heavens is at 27 degrees Capricorn. So the United States is having a Pluto return, which doesn't happen for a person because it takes over 240 years, but it happens for a country. And so the United States is going through, as a nation, its own, what would you call it? Its own self-inventory. And even if the powers that be aren't looking at that, the people are. The people are looking at, who are we as a nation? How do we need to apologize to those who have been, oppressed, over challenged, and ignored? How do we as a people demand the rights of everyone that this nation supposedly was founded on? And how do we get what we need in an equality oriented way, so that we have enough food, we have enough resources to live with our families in decent accommodations, and we have the right to pursue happiness.
It's pretty powerful. Jyoti, when was the last time that this same arrangement was?
There was a similar arrangement back in 2007, just before what they called the Great Recession, the
Right.
next year. I don't have any more information on it than that. I haven't really looked back on it. Just I have the date in mind, the year. But there were some things that really plummeted the economy.
Sure.
And so we're looking, we're on that edge right now, right here. Which way is it going to go?
Yeah.
And what do we want to set in motion that over the next 15 years we can set in motion more of having what we need, everyone having what we need.
Yeah.
So it's personally, it's also looking at your own future. What do you want to set in motion for yourself over the next 15 years? Where do you want to be in 15 years? Or even, the smaller picture, Monday, being mindful, just being mindful, August 1st, just noticing what's happening, what's up for you. Where do you find yourself? Where do you find yourself in your own internal world? How do you see what's going on around you? How do you see your participation or non-participation?
Yeah. And I think encounters are particularly important that day too, because we may have a conversation that might be a bit surprising or unusual for us.
Yes,
Yeah.
it could be.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, sometimes I'll think to myself, if I have something with Mars and Pluto personally, I'll think to myself, today's the day I don't go out. Today's the day I stay home. Why push the envelope there, in my relationships with other people? But it's interesting because I had listened to a talk by Rick Levine last night, and he was talking about don't stay home. Don't stay home on this day and avoid whatever opportunities might be there for you. Put yourself in the fray, put yourself out there so that you can be part of the decision making, and prior to that, maybe the looking and the scrutiny and the decision making on your own part of what you'd like to see happen as well.
Yeah, I love that. Come on, Jyoti, we always like to jump in the fray. That's part of how we're made, right?
Every once in a while, I'd rather stay home.
I get it. Well, hey, thank you so much for sharing this, and I hope this is insightful for all of you folks out there as you prepare for Monday and really the next 15 years ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.